Welcome to another episode of Unpacking. Now tonight we'll be delving into, it's like a normal topic about fame. None of us are famous yet, but we'd like to have a conversation about it. Tonight we want to talk about, what gets you there, the desire, the negatives, the positives, and of course the side effects. Here on Unpacking, we do not propose to say that we have any facts on anything that we speak about, but we definitely do share our opinions. It would be great for you guys listening to this podcast right now to sound off in the comment section and give us your thoughts on things you may like to hear on Unpacking. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. We really would appreciate if persons listening to this podcast would definitely share this video and also subscribe to our channel. We're kind of running low on those subscriber counts right now. But of course, before I delve into this decent topic, how are you feeling about the topic of fame tonight, guys?
I think in some way we've all gotten there at some point. So I guess it's something we can discuss. It's a pretty sturdy topic. So let's do it.
I mean, I would love to unpack, how we've gotten there. I mean, I know we've had some level of success, but fame. Well,
in your life, I'm sure there's some level of success that you have achieved.
No, but we know that you are infamous.
Of fame.
But infam is different. Infam is different from famous.
The many hearts of people. People in company, right? So we understand where you are coming from.
Make me sound like Casanova.
Casanova. Terrible person. Right, what about you, Josh? How are you feeling about discussing fame? How do you feel about that?
Well, I was told just yesterday in a meeting that I am very influential and apparently, in your quotation, famous at work. So, I don't know if that was meant to be a good or a bad thing. Because apparently that can be a key factor in the change process and breaking the news to my fellow cut because they would align themselves towards taking more work with no added benefits just because they see me doing it and just because I tell them that it is okay. So I'm not sure if it's good for management, but I guess bad for everybody else. I look forward to having this discussion to see how it unfolds.
So you essentially spoke about the fact that you're influential. Okay, that's a great way to start this off by. No problem. All right, so let's just dive right into it. Now, the first topic that we have here is what gets you there to fame. Now, you said that, all right, you're at work and people do find you very influential and stuff like that, right? Could you say from your perspective why people think you're an influential person?
Well, what I have found to be true and what I was asked is based on my own assessment of myself, how would I describe myself? How would my peers describe me? So everybody knows me at work and I pretty much know everybody. I am not in any one clique. I try to integrate with everyone, from those who believe.
So would you say you're a social butterfly?
I wouldn't say that. I don't consider myself a butterfly. I'm more like a caterpillar. That is yet.
Wow.
What I would say is I know how to play a room, how to work a room, how to fit myself into almost all settings, and those who are the cha-cha boys or whatever they call it, the badmen, the thugs. I know how to roll. Please just allow me to speak without aging me. All right. Those young ladies who are always finely dressed and showing all of their shape and thing. Those who are more older with children and reserved. Support staff, I can talk with them. Yes. So I'm very flexible when it comes down to that. I also know how to keep a secret. It's very important in this day and age because people like to run their mouths, right? So being able to keep a secret be able to be trusted has one favor, one many favor of many, which adds to why it is believed that I'm influential, that persons will hang on to something that I said over that of their supervisor. So, and I believe that there must be some content of trust for someone to become famous and not infamous, like Sir Alex. You have to be able to trust what they're saying, believe in what it is that they are doing, whatever cause it is that they're supporting. You're aligned with it, and so you find influencers, otherwise known as famous people, celebrities.
I think they actually have a line drawn between those two, about who.
Yes, they do have a line
because
they do have a line because of the core duty that each performs. Because an influencer really is assisting with the branding of promoting of other brands, while a celebrity is promoting themselves as a brand. They are the brand. So yes, I understand the thing, but of course, with many words, they're used interchangeably, and we will find.
So essentially, you're saying that to really achieve fame, as you say, what gets you there, is being socially immersive and socially manipulative. Is that how you would say one goes about getting that?
Yes, I know, because you see the little bite of the week. Rosie that was talking about the 30 grand dress and a 30 grand this would have gotten famous, right? And the bus cannot cross it, and all the rest of it that came on news, and planes are driving in the air and bending corners, and the people are deading around here. That was the bite of the week from the incursion. That person would have been famous for but a time. They wouldn't have
15 minutes of fame, right. So there's no longevity there. So,
but they were famous,
Right. For a moment.
Sex tape get released and you become famous. Kim Kardashian. Yeah.
Here's who's talking about. First.
Guess who's talking about what? I mean, you have many persons after her that tried, but it just didn't really work out for them. So I wouldn't say that's a social vehicle to getting famous. No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say
if I release one of mine, well, let's see what would happen. But not talking about that.
I mean, you can give it a shot. You can give it a shot. Just know that we have legal. I'm just saying,
not encourage.
You could give it a shot. All right, now. Speaking to Alex, what do you think? Why do you think people have the desire to want to become famous? And do you have that desire to want to become famous?
Actually, all right. So first off, the desire to become famous, no. I mean, for goodness sakes, I hate the spotlight as much as, I just really, really hate the spotlight. I really don't want my life under a microscope. I don't want people in my business overall. So no, I'd rather, stay in my circle. The people that know me. The people that don't know me, really, I don't care. So I'm quite fine with that. Otherwise, from that though, I mean, people want to become famous for different reasons, They want the spotlight. They want the recognition. They want people to see them. They just want to have that feeling of being...
I think most important, they want the validation. I think that's
exactly.
They want
that's
the validation.
It, You're seeking validation. I don't know why, but you're seeking validation from a bunch of people who probably don't even
know you exist. Probably don't know you exist. They don't know anything about you. They
know you're existing.
Well, in terms of
you as a person,
right.
Other than what
you of who you are as a person. But the portrayal you put out to the world, that's ultimately what they know. And I guess some people seek validation through that. I know particularly, one particular reason why people would desire fame is because they believe that having more money makes them more happy. I cannot speak for everyone, but I can definitely say that an abundance of money. I mean, people disagree and they will say, well, give me a chance with it. Maybe I may know about it. I think the statement, more money, more problems, is definitely true. And I think when somebody does go down the road of what this is, they would definitely realize that, you see, the more money you do get, or the more the more you elevate yourself above what you were before, it's kind of the more problems you pick up. Some people could argue and say
may I
that.
interject?
Go
I would
ahead,
like
go
to
ahead.
argue that. I definitely would, right? I don't
Go ahead.
believe more money, more problems. What I do believe, because for some people it's really true. What I do believe, though, without any doubt, is that money magnifies, amplifies, multiplies who you are as a person. So if you are a generous, kind-hearted soul, the more that you get is the more that you give. But if you are a dick, oh Lord, the world is it's going to be in utter chaos. The more money that you earn, because all you'll be thinking about is yourself and how you can get more of it, and don't care about who you have to step on, who you need to
So
trample.
in that essence, do you think fame can corrupt somebody then?
Yes, most certainly. A lot of persons who are better people would have been seen as kind of individuals, or at least the humility was there because of their circumstance. So their circumstances kept them humble. But as soon as they've achieved certain sense of recognition in society, they have forgotten where it is that they were coming from, the humble beginnings from which they would have risen. And life has a way of cutting you down. So,
But you see, it's important you said that, Josh, because in the last week's episode you did say if you had a chiseled body, if you had a up there kind of physique, you'd be it'd be a monster. Would you believe that? Are you being famous? So let's say you were famous. I mean, it could happen. It really could happen, right? It really could happen. Do you really believe within yourself if you became famous and also rich? Because of course we do understand that being famous and being rich are two different things. They're not the same, right? You become famous and rich. Do you believe that this could change any part of your personality?
Yeah, it could, and that would be all up to me, right? It could. Before I get famous, I would want to be in a good relationship, because I know I'll fall into a whole heap of problems. Because of course with the fame comes the little frog tails that seemingly are like clothespin. You click the head and the legs go open. Right. And I don't want to be,
Are you talking about that girl? That girl, Shelly?
any circumstance in which you have people flaunting themselves at me and not being able to resist the urge, because I know that I have something better, something that isn't worth losing over.
Okay. But you see, some people don't know when they're tempted with the fame, that thing is not worth losing. Somehow they kind of lose sight of it still.
No, you see, yes, fair. But you see, because I've been there, done that, learned my lesson.
Okay.
I feel I could be wrong, because I'm not a genie. I don't, I can't see into the future. But I feel from where I am now, right, clearly not. And from the growth that I've had, still a lot more to happen. I don't believe that I would purposefully put myself or another person through heartache of infidelity and the breaking up of a family. I don't want another divorce, so no, it wouldn't be worth it, not at all. And if I'll be rich, that means she's going to take all of my money. That is not cute.
I mean, depending on how that marriage contract goes, but
no, I don't believe in prenuptial agreements.
I think it's best to lead with that, because many people are probably saying, "Well, I don't know about that in the church, because I would have gotten prenuptials done."
No, I don't believe in that, and that is why I would want somebody to know me before.
Right. And I'm glad you're leading into that, because that's the next thing I was definitely going to be speaking about on the desire. Right, the fact that for myself, you're right. I would prefer, before anything really monumental happens for me, that I have a stable relationship. As much as many people are out there believing that they want a lot of successes, I am one of those ordinary people who believe that you should have a stable relationship with you at all times, because it does help you through a lot of stuff that you may not be able to explain to your friends or your family, right? You having that that stability and you going to that level of fame or whatever success is happening to you can make it that much more easier, more manageable. As you said, if you hadn't had that person around you, you'd fall into a very dark place. It can happen. Sometimes we are human, we see things, we're elevated from certain situations, we become a different kind of person. Or some people who I know are definitely listening to this podcast would say that it only magnifies who you are. I don't necessarily think so. I think some of the things that we see on TV, like for instance, not meaning to pinpoint this, we place 3 young people on a yacht and give them cigars. There are the shouting scenes from The Godfather. Any Sylvester Stallone movie, whatever, they're just acting it up because they feel all high and influenced or whatever the case is. Sometimes the moment can swallow you to become a different kind of person, differently from who you are. And sometimes it does take you having that person by your side before all this happened to give you clear eyes. I think that's quite important. Many people won't see it that way, but I'm one of those people that will definitely see it that way. We have the negatives of what fame here is, right? And that's what I was leading into about how it can affect someone's personality. What are some of the things you believe about yourself? Honestly speaking, because we can talk about this now, and it would be good to talk about it now. If in the case this podcast does get somewhere, people can definitely hold us accountable. If you were supposed to become famous in any way, shape, or form, what are some of the things you know for a fact you'd have to always keep in check so you don't fly off the handle?
My vindictiveness.
Wow. He's being honest, guys.
It is that I have unlimited resources.
Right.
I am famous.
Right.
And you rub me the wrong way. You piss me off. If I don't keep myself in check, I will erase you from the face of the earth.
He said it out loud, guys.
You know more. You understand me? When they Google your name, they will say unknown.
They said unknown or not found or error.
Not found. No profile, no nothing will exist for you. No government database will have anything for you.
Wow.
So I'd have to keep that in check. I'd have to remember that I am first of all striving each day to be Christ-like, and He's a forgiving man, a forgiving God. All right, money.
Guys, lessons of the day: if Joshua ever becomes famous, don't piss him off, or else you'll be swimming with the fishes.
But you know what's funny about that, though?
You take note of that, especially you take your own advice.
Before you can swim with the fishes, sir,
I'll be cremating you.
Dissolve you in some hydrochloric acid.
Guys, you might be giving. Listen. This could be used in evidence.
You know what?
Breaking Bad. It's
Breaking Bad.
Going to be very bad at this.
Walter White.
But I mean, I like the fact that he's being honest. I can agree with Josh on that point. Of course, I think a lot of humans would have to, take part in trying to keep their vindictiveness in check. Because, honestly, I think in most of us, it is innate to be vengeful. You can lie to yourself if you want to, but it really is. Just like we blink our eyes or decide to talk, it's in us like that. Whenever we feel like we've been done wrong, or as Joshua said, rub us the wrong way, we do feel like, something needs to be answered here. Some scales must be balanced. Not everyone is the way the wisher would say, all right, I don't have to do what somebody did to me back to them. Listen, it is very rare to find somebody who will truthfully give you that response and they actually mean it. So I'm actually very proud of Josh for at least saying that. People be glad to hear that, definitely. But what about you, Alex? What are some of the things you think you definitely have to keep in check?
Things I probably have to keep in check. Being very honest, if I become rich and famous.
Your penis. No question.
That never can keep in check ever. So
oh
let's
my God.
Alright, there we go.
It sounds, and I know for a person listening in, it sounds like, right, that Joshua had some ex that may have crossed paths with you, and it seemed as if, there's some form of, friction happening there. I don't know what it is, but
No.
Quite has happened, but I don't know about it.
Oh.
It just happened. So, yeah, I don't keep count.
Oh,
I don't kiss and tell,
and I don't
blanket statement that so to leave any misconception anywhere. You understand
That's
me?
right.
I
That's
can
right.
count out. You see, because
That's
I don't
right.
practice.
You
I know
don't want to
everybody.
know what I'm about
Hold
to
up.
say,
No,
You
go
don't
ahead. I
want
want to know.
They say
You have piqued my interest.
this
Go ahead.
podcast end immediately if I make my next statement.
Go ahead.
No.
No, let him go ahead because I'm not coming off. It's mostly coming off. So go ahead. Make your statement,
There will
please.
be some coming, but you know when. Anyways, moving back
Oh,
to what I
Lord.
was.
Lord.
What him say? What him say?
I don't know. No. We're
You don't
guiding
know.
him. We're guiding him.
All right,
We're
go
just
ahead.
speaking about them.
No, if I have to
Negatives,
keep
the
anything in
negatives.
check.
Right.
Knowing the person that I am. No, I don't think I have to keep my vindictiveness in check because I think I worked out that quite some time back. It's more of, I just learned the full fact that right now, I think it's eviler to completely ignore somebody than to just try and get back at them. Get back at them, you're trying to give them attention. Completely ignore them, act like them do exist. Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
that's harder to do than being vindictive.
Trust me, it's not for me.
No.
So not for me.
It isn't because I can behave as though you don't exist.
Some people can do
right
that.
in front of my face. I don't look at you. You're not here.
Same here. You don't exist, right? However, when we get to the point of vindictiveness, it's normally within a close circle because I don't keep many friends. Whilst I am friendly with most, when I consider you a friend, it means that shirt off my back kind of friendship. You call me anytime.
Alright, so when you say that is what I'd probably have to keep in check.
Yeah,
because
man, those are the people I'm talking about. Not just the little acquaintance that you couldn't care.
No, I'm saying you said shirt off your back type of person. That's the person. That's the person that I will have to keep in check for myself because I know how I will be.
Yeah.
I'll probably, because of everything bad that I've done in my life, I try to give as much handouts as possible to calm my soul from time to time. Wow. At the point that I get rich and famous, I'm probably going to go overboard with the charity. So I might have to keep that in check, definitely.
I think all I have to keep in check is the level of how much I spend frivolously. I think that's pretty much it. But in terms of being,
I don't think that can ever be kept in check. I'm
already like that. So that's the only.
No, that is fine. All you have to do is just ensure that whatever it is that you normally just spend mindlessly on, I will provide it to you at an exorbitant cost, so as to ensure that I can become rich. We don't have any problem there.
I mean,
let me know.
I would not be complaining. You would not be complaining.
Right.
Everybody's winning. I don't think his plight is wrong at all. I mean, I do look to some customers that way anyways. Right? So those are some of the positives. And those are definitely things to definitely look into keeping in check because, of course, we would say one thing, but one thing, so I remember going to a meeting recently and persons there were talking about, persons who are highly affluent, how do they stay in those roles? Something that Alex just mentioned is one of the things that they do find that they have to keep in check. And also with something that Josh just said about the fact that, you'd have to keep his friends close and enemies closer type of thing, right? You get into this type of mindset where you have to be mindful of your natural human instinct, which does include being vindictive, being too kind, and being too overly cautious. These are definitely things that, affect us as human beings. And one thing they definitely spoke about is the fact that if you give your money away to every homeless person you see, you'll be homeless as well. That is definitely what will happen to you. And you will have to know that some takers never know when to stop. Givers need to know, okay, we have to stop here because takers have an avaricious appetite. It never goes away really. And it isn't a case where they're being bad, but everybody wants something. And if you're in an area of high affluence, you can't be answering to every open mouth to get that fed. It's just not the right way to go about doing things. And if you're to be in the position that you need to be in, where you need to be, then certain natural human instincts will have to be almost eradicated. So those are definitely good points to bring up. Right now, we're talking about the positives of being a famous or an influential person. What are some of the ways you believe had you been given that level of info, fame? Sorry, that level of fame, right? What do you believe you would do with it first? I know for a fact that Joshua is a missionary man, and I know that.
What is tough to me? Why are you calling out my name?
I know that Joshua is one for the missionary. Joshua is one for the missionary. You know, if you had that level of fame, what do you think is the first thing you do to help your community? Or if you'd want to do that, what's the first thing you would do if you had that level of fame?
Well, with fame comes responsibility.
Right.
A lot of people don't actually
know that or look into it. Yeah.
That it's fine and dandy to go ahead and do whatever you want. But one of the first things that I would do if I were affluent and famous would be to fulfill a promise that I would have made to my then wife, that I would slap her name
Jesus.
on. No, allow me to finish before you run with it. Let me not use the word slap. To put her name on a building.
Okay.
Be it a school of art or a Wings Hospital or something, or create some community center or something.
Okay.
That is very
What, noble?
Yeah.
Noble. I mean, it is. I mean, he's just
Sticking
fulfilling
to the
his
fact
promise.
that he said my then wife, and the fact that he's saying you'd still
No, I mean,
do
it's
it.
just about fulfilling
Very
a
noble.
promise. So, I
Yeah.
learned one thing. That if they say that a man is exactly what people say about him. That if his word has no merit or weight, he's worth exactly what those words are. So if he said that this is what he wanted to do and he made that promise, him fulfilling it, I mean, people could call him a clown, they could call him a fool, but it's really just being noble. There's something wrong with it.
Yeah, somebody said in my visit, because I went, well, you fellas don't know that I went in St. Elizabeth on a ministry opportunity, and sharing with the pastors, because I stayed over and sharing with them at dinner time. The wife said to me that I listened to your no, it wasn't a podcast, it was a blog. She said, I read your blog, and it seemed very, very vulnerable, like intimate, and she wouldn't have done that in terms of herself sharing. And she was admonishing me to be careful. But in response to that, because one of the reasons why I've stopped blogging is I lost motivation, as well as every time I go on Instagram, I see where there's a reminder on business pages that I follow that we should keep our mouth silent when they have been accomplished. Then you can share same and just move on to the next one, because there's a lot of hating, a lot of bad energy that comes from people seeing others have progress. They're not necessarily wanting for you to be, making any advancement in your life. I tried this passing.
Are those crustaceans that we spoke about before?
Sorry?
Those crabs in barrels?
Yeah, the crab-like mentality. So with the whole vulnerability and sharing, I really don't care what anyone has to say about me, or if you're going to try and use my past again. Because guess what? Anything that you know is more than likely something that I would have said to you, or an assumption that you have made based on something that you would have read that I wrote, or heard somebody said. You know what I see on Joshua Blogger? I was listening to the podcast and him say Ray and him say, I really don't care. I have found that my life would have been exponentially better had I followed through on the promises that I made. So like my wedding vows, if I had followed my wedding vows to the T, I would have been happy, still married, probably a father of 3 or 2 children now, right?
Oh dear.
My life would have been better for it. And in learning that lesson, that when you give, the Bible says it perfectly. Let your yea be yea and your no be no. You don't need to swear on anything. When you give your word to do something, follow through. That is where I am lacking, in the following through. So the first thing, just as how if I will become rich tomorrow, the first thing would be to credit her account. I won't say the amount of money for some of the hardship because I feel like she deserves it. Putting up with me was not an easy task. Putting up
I'm
with her
glad you know.
okay.
I mean, we are sitting right
I'll
here,
let-
so yeah, we.
I'll
Yeah.
let me rape you up. You understand me?
I think we need some of that dividend too. We have to be putting up with your ass every single Monday. Every damn Monday.
I have not funny night. Not from I cannot take the hostility. That is the poor highway. Okay, normally Ryan would be that little buffer, but now it seems like he has joined in the
I have
assault.
not joined on anything. Listen, like
Yeah?
the turmoil will be ongoing, whether or not I even pour gasoline.
No, but
It's great.
I heard you. Know, I heard you.
I mean,
you.
listen, I would not say for me per se. You could be a difficult person. Because we're speaking about persons being on difficile, right? I believe of the three of us, if I'm being honest with myself, I am the most difficult.
Yes, you
I
are.
may not come across that way, but I know I am. In terms of anyone that would know me, it makes no sense. I would make it seem as if, I'm the easiest to get along with. I'm easier to make an enemy than a friend. And that's fine for me. I have no problem with that. It keeps me going. It keeps me where I am right now. So I have no problem with that. But you were saying something of that nature. I mean, if you really do feel like, you've been, you know, a thorn in someone's side, even though they never had to, be putting up with most of that, then if you feel you want to give your money, I mean, you go ahead and do that. Nothing at all is wrong with doing that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you realize you have the fluidity now
Open
to be
and
able
ready
to
to
make it.
receive.
You know what I said to somebody? Okay, let's say you have that money. Because when people hear about lotto or any, like, the minute they get that 15 minutes or whatever, it's all about everything what they wanted to show themselves off. You just said something that was so important to this podcast episode. Let your yea be a yea and your no be a no. There's no need to swear on anything. Just follow through. Many people, even before they got the fame, they had so many little things put down on paper. But because they allowed it to get to them head so fast, nothing on that paper was achieved. It was everything else that they chose to do. So let's say, for instance, we're not going to use Josh because Josh is a different person from what the personification of somebody famous would have been. You definitely get that now. You put something on a billboard. Instead of deciding to put the name there on the hospital, you put something nasty. Because you believe that, hey, you can do this, as you said. Somebody rubbed it the wrong way. You could have thought of some bad memory or something. Whatever the case is, you allow yourself to be consumed by it and not actually following through with some of the things that you said you wanted to do before. Some people would ask me why is it I found reasons to take my money, and the first thing I chose to buy was a Nintendo GameCube, right? That was one of the first things I would have bought when I got any amount of money that was made to my name. And they said, okay, why is that? Because I'm fulfilling a promise to myself. I always said I wanted one of these and I chose to get it now. I may never use it, but just to follow through with what I said I was going to do. I think it's best to get some of those things out the way first before I allow myself to be, sucked into anywhere and become any form of different product of what this. Because the truth be told, and this is something that we speak about. Because we do have right here the side effects of fame. Anything in life that you will go through has side effects. You have both positive and you have negative ones, right? And fame is definitely one of those engines. The person who you are before you start will not be the same person at the end, no matter how hard you try. Some interactions will make you different. Some interactions will make you amplify the same things. For instance, I know for a fact that Joshua at the beginning of his marriage is not the same Joshua now. If that was the same person, he would have not done some of the things he said he would have done in terms of, he didn't follow through with this or whatever the case is. The same thing would go for us when we've gone through anything at all. We started being all fresh-faced and fresh-minded and going through that machine and coming out on the other side. It's like we lost ourselves. I think once we stick to the values of what we said we were going to do, as what Joshua said, making your yea be a yea, your no be a no, you should be fine. You should be fine. Because the good thing about you being level-headed and being able to see with a set of clear eyes, you're able to make more conscious and sound decisions. Not anything that would seem like you made out of being too happy, which of course, if we were supposed to get skyrocket overnight, fame, it might get to our heads no matter how, level-headed we think we are. But if we could at least revisit what we were before that happened, that would be something good for us. And we wouldn't have any regrets when the end does come, because of course, you know that the engine of fame is nothing that is immortal. It does die after some time. You can be remembered, but you won't be at the same level of fame as you were in your prime. So
True.
just like anything else, you'll have to ride it out with the most morality and the most integrity. And I guess most people who are in it don't do that, so they lose themselves. But it can happen to anyone. But speaking of some of the side effects here, right? If we've been through many things in our life, many things in our life, aside from marriage or whatever the case is, right? What are some of the things you wish you could, when you were going through it, you wish you could find a level head to not make some of the decisions that you made? What are some things that you made? I mean, this could be sex, this could be buying a car, this could be choosing a school to visit, this could be working somewhere, this could be just going through anything of the nature. What do you think you'd appreciate having a level head while doing it, so you could have had a different outcome in the end?
Trading for me. Trading, definitely, especially binary options, because when I started, I grew a $100 account into $430 something, like overnight, and greed and not being able to control myself, because when I was looking at it, I just started with expert options, and if every time I think back on it, I was saying that $400 or that $300 profit could have covered a decent amount, at least paid a month on car loan, or take the unsecured loan, pay 2 installments on it or something. It could have, because that was the whole purpose of starting to trade to begin with. And I lost it all, and I put my money in, as it went up and then it went back down, it wiped it out, and I just kept on going. And I remember what one of my friends told me, that binary options is worse than gambling. It becomes addictive. I was doing Forex as well. Forex has been going better in terms of my trading and my outcomes. It doesn't offer us the instant profit that binary option gives, but the risk is a little bit more manageable. But not being able to control myself in the moment, the impulse, the greed, right there, worst decision that I could have made, and I'm still learning.
So what are some things you think, I mean, in the moment of right? I think many people have been where you're at with different things. Definitely can attest to that. What are some of the things, do you wish you had a friend that could speak to you directly? Do you wish you had somebody who could give you that shake to say, hey, this is not the right thing to do? And would you even listen?
No. I don't wish I had anybody, because it's nobody's responsibility. It's mine. Joshua needs to stick to the trading plan. It is nobody else's fault, nobody else's responsibility. I don't need an accountability partner. I just need to know that I should take 7 trades, no more than 7 trades in any one session, and if I have 2 consecutive losses, I stop. So if the first 2 trades are a loss, I stop. If I had 5 successful ones and then the other 2 are a loss, I stop. That's all I need to do. If I follow that, I will definitely be golden.
But you see, people who would have been saying what you're saying for years. They would have been saying what you're saying for years. I'm pretty sure you may be aware of the movie called The Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know if you ever watched that movie before. And you can see where some of the things that you're speaking about, he probably wished that he would have known that before. But the truth be told, this wasn't a secret back in his time. It's just that when people, like I said before at the beginning of this episode, you can sometimes become swallowed by the moment. Sometimes you become this amplified type of person because of all that's happening around you. If I say to you, Joshua, you have $200 billion USD in your account, and then somebody shows up to say, yo, man, look at your face, this, all like, get rid of that guy from the please. Like, let's get him out of here and bring me a caviar. That, like, it just gets to It just consumes you. If you watch that movie, you'll realize that he starts off one way, with his wife and all of that, being kind of humble, not knowing too much about the business. In walks Matthew McConaughey, poisoning his mind with all this rubbish, him there feel the need to do cocaine every day because it gets him through this and gets him through that. And before you know it, he becomes this different type of person where he has all these words, sleep with people on the regular is like a new thing for him, even though he started off with being a faithful man to his wife. And his wife believed in him that he would one day become rich, which he did. But upon getting there, he would have lost her. And even through the entire process, he lost everything and had to start back from the beginning because of how far he got himself into that dragon's ass.
I didn't watch.
I'm not saying no. You have to watch. No, if we are to learn from this that we're talking about, trust me, I would definitely recommend Leonardo DiCaprio's The Wolf of Wall Street. It teaches you a great lesson on why you must be apprehensive about some of your decisions. Why greed is definitely outlined. As I said, you need to look at why these 7 things were selected to be sinful things. I think once we're adults, we need to understand the 7 circles, the 7 sins. It is good to realize what they all contribute to our lives. Some people still cannot understand what sloth is. They don't really get wrath. Some men find it difficult to get what pride is. They don't understand what envy is. They still struggle with things like, what's the other one? I'm missing a few, man. Well, whoever's listening would know the 7, right? It is good to understand those because if you greed was one I was getting to. If you don't understand what greed is, you may say you're not a greedy person, but of course, I don't believe that when he started out, that his time at that, I think it was a firm, at that firm, he didn't. This you could see from the behavior. He never expected that to become what he was. But the minute he got on the phone and was working the pink slips and getting to talk to those people and getting them to invest, it's like it somewhat lit his personality on fire and it just burned the reel him out, bring that new person in. And a lot of people can fall folly to what that is. I think that is what the engine of fame does to most people. The minute they realize what they believe they can do, they become greedy and they want more and they want more and they want more and they want more and they want more. And sometimes you have all that and realize you lose everything just as quick as you got it. Me watching that makes me realize that, listen, not saying I'm going to be overly cautious, because if you're going to be somebody about business and stocks, you have to be a risk taker. That's the only way it will work. You have to spend that money to make it back. But there's something what we call guaranteed risks or calculated risks. You put pen to paper to figure out exactly what would be the worst outcome on this if this is the avenue that I take. And I've always told people this. If you're somebody listening to this podcast, I know for a fact in an episode I do have coming up with me here and the guys, we'll be discussing about the stock market. If you use a chessboard, put each name of whatever you'll do in your life on one of those squares, whether it be on the black side or the white side, whichever side you choose to move from with what is positive to you, and put on the other side what is negative to you. Whichever strategy that you take on that board, you will definitely figure out what are the best moves you can make in your life and what will be the worst outcomes. It is very intrinsical to you and it is very difficult if you look at it from one standpoint, but getting to understand that board with your ideas being one positive and one negative, it helps you to easily unravel your brain. That's something I've been doing for years now, and it's definitely assisted me, and it's quite a big teacher. But I think anything that's a big teacher has many big lessons. I think everyone listening can agree. So like I was saying, the side effects of that, some things we definitely can't control and we get ourselves warped into. It's not good to judge people because I think we all as humans, we do have those Achilles heel and weaknesses that we definitely do go through. And I think if we understand, like what we said, Josh said, just keep your years and your nose and stuff like that. You should be just fine. You should be just fine. It is very appreciative for Josh to put forward this story about that, because many people out there, the minute they hear him talking about like names like Forex, they're already rolling their eyes, talking about how much money they lost. But the truth be told, you may have lost that money because of you. You probably didn't see it that way at first, but you end up losing it because of you. If you took the time out to really understand the game that you're playing, because life is a game. We have to be honest about that. And playing life, sometimes what comes from playing the game of life very good is fame. Definitely, it's fame. But if you can't play the game of life very well, you may not be able to properly handle fame or anything else you might go through. As I think fame is just as much of a horse to ride like marriages or having children. They all have their positives and negatives. But yeah, what are some of the side effects that you think could come from fame, Alex? What are some of the things you think on that?
Becoming famous comes with, yeah, side effects, of course. I mean, in some cases, it might be, yeah, you might be on a high in the beginning, but it does lead some people to depression.
Right, right.
It
And
really
I'm glad
does.
you brought that up though, about depression, because some people, like I said, from the minute they think about having enough money, they believe that depression and those things are no longer able to affect them. But from my standpoint, I say more money, more problems. I understand that, Josh has a different view on that, and a lot of people do. They're all like, tempt me with $1 billion. Let me show you what I will do. But for you know, for some experiences, you'll realize that, a lot of depression can come from being surrounded by certain things. So yeah, depression is one of those things that can happen from that. I would definitely agree that that is something that could happen. But how does one person combat that, being at that level? Because of course, once you're propelled to a certain level of living, it's kind of hard to
Being
go back
authentic.
to. What was
Most
that?
time you become being authentic.
Right, right, right. Being authentic.
Being open, being vulnerable. But most times you come to that point where you become depressed, and the depression is really because you're having a conflict between what is real and what isn't.
Right.
Who you are and who you portray yourself to be. And
But I
keeping up
realize,
those.
on the market right now, people are they're more buying authenticity and vulnerability, because they believe that that level of realism is what propels a real person, so to speak.
That has always been the case. However, you'll find that the fan base is smaller,
Right,
and
right,
that
right,
persons who are authentic, who are being real, do not have as many posts. Because
right.
if you are really honest with yourself, your life is interesting. You don't have so much happening. You don't have so much going on. So there's less to post about. You're not renting Airbnbs or leasing vehicles that aren't your own to show up and to behave as though you're something that you're not. You understand? So there is less happening. There's less chaos in your life. You're not going on expensive vacations on credit and being dead broke afterwards, or in debt, highly in debt. So you are living within your means. So there isn't much to like wow
To parade around our
right
our
parade and all of that.
showcase, yeah.
Good.
But I think those are in the category of the fake it till you make it. Because I remember seeing a post online saying, I've never seen these persons in a work shirt. And the person responded with something nasty, saying that themselves front. That's how they get to do these things. But I mean, if you don't have to be putting yourself in, like you said, some of your lives are not necessarily as interesting as you're posting it to be online. But I'm certain if you are living within your means, I mean, I say the fans will come. The fans will come. I know a YouTuber here on the same platform that when I started watching her back in 2016, she had a little bit over 1,000 subscribers. I know she has almost, I think, 15 million subscribers on the platform, if not probably a little bit less. Her name is Emma Chamberlain. She's really go with the flow type of girl, not really necessarily about anything too tragic or too dramatic. Anything, just really sitting at home, drinking a coffee, watching some TV, just being real. And I think that really propelled her to where she is right now. You say you speak about your blog, about how your blog is a bit vulnerable. I believe, over some time, people would definitely value that. Yes, it wouldn't happen overnight where, people would flock to it, but that somewhat reminds me of what Oprah Winfrey's journey is. And yes, I can compare Joshua's journey to Oprah because he's a human and so is she. She started off with everything that she was doing within the least amount of attention, but now she's one of the most richest black women alive. So yes, it may take some time, but it does get there. And I'm sure that even with her being that famous, with me propagating her in that light, could somewhat stress her out. It somewhat makes her feel like, she's probably this role model to persons, and maybe we don't know the real her. But that's just me talking, just me having a conversation here. Yeah. That's just me talking about that. But yeah, you're absolutely right, people who try not to live authentic, and people do inauthentic things to become famous. They'll put themselves in harm's way, like people will swallow fire just for clicks. People will be bitten by rancid things just for clicks. People do a lot of garbage just for clicks because they believe the desire of what is a famous life is an easy life, is a relaxing life, is a comfortable life. But I think it's anything but. Yeah. I really think it's anything but. From everything I would have seen and some of my experiences, I think it's anything but. I can't say there's no way to properly manage it once you have it, because of course there would be. Once you have clear eyes, I think you can manage anything. I think some persons would say, being thrown into a certain situation can be like when you're thrown into water and you can't drown. But the minute you calm down and learn to move your limbs around, you'll realize you can survive. Rather than the struggle with all that, you might end up sinking and, forfeiting your life. But yeah. I mean, with most of this discussion, I think we got up most of what we'd want to say here. Is there anything either of you guys wanted to say differently about fame?
No, I'm covered.
Covered. What about you, Alex? Anything about that?
I think covered the majority, covered everything I can think of at this point in time.
Yeah, can't be. We ain't famous. We're just having a conversation. Yeah. We hope one day to get there, but we ain't famous. But of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. We would really appreciate that. You can always check us out on our socials. There are links below in the description. Please, if you have a comment to leave on this video, just scroll down, drop even 2 words. Say hi, say hello. I'll definitely say hello back to you. Or anyone can say hello back to you. You can definitely find us, as I told us, on our different platforms. And also, go follow Unpacking. Let's Unpack that on Instagram. We'd be really appreciative if you could follow us there too, as much as you are subscribed to us here on our channel. But of course, from me and the studio, from me, Ryan, Josh, and Alex, thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of your night.